Hi, welcome to another training movie for Roboflow. The training movie today is executed with version 9.2.40. You can check your version this way. Why am I mentioning this? Because in this version we made a change to the regular expression folder filter. And so this example will contain examples of regular expressions, and in this version the behavior of regular expression folder filter and file filter was modified. I created a watch folder workflow, simple watch folder workflow out of the box now without any folder or file filter, and I created some files inside a folder structure. I'm going to run the workflow so you can see what files I have on my disk. If we look in the catalog, you can see that I have a watch folder, and in this watch folder I have one file. Then I have two subfolders, one called folder and one called folder hash. And if I look inside folder here, there's one file in here. Every time I gave the file actually the name file prefixed with the folder it resides in. So you can check here what folder it is in the watch folder subfolder folder. So that's why I call the file folder file. If I look inside and I look here at a subfolder, I have another file in here which is in the folder under the subfolder. So you can see here in the subfolder structure. The reason why I constructed this is so that you can have a very clear view of what gets cataloged. So without filter, there are 17 files in the catalog, 17 files in the folders, and they have all this file naming convention to make it easier to understand how the folder filter works. I created an Excel sheet which I will make available in the community. This Excel sheet gives a nice overview of how the folder filter works, and at the bottom also how the file filter works. And here you have the file filter. Let's first quickly have a look at the folder filter. First of all, in the folder filter you can specify the folder names that you do or do not want to process. If you do not want to process some folder filters, you can put the folder filter name surrounded by hashes. This is actually backwards compatibility. In the since Cumulus 9 there is no you are no longer obliged to surround this by hash marks or hash signs. So these two have exactly the same functionality. What it means is that I'm here in the root folder, and will it process this root folder? Yes. Will it process the files? Yes. Will it process subfolders? Yes, if the subfolder is not called subfolder. And will it process the files in the subfolders? Yes, in those subfolders it will catalog the files if that subfolder is not called subfolder. It stops as soon as it comes to a level of subfolder. How we can see this is that we have here a folder, which means will it process it? No, so it doesn't go inside, it doesn't look what's inside, doesn't care. It stops at that level. Subfolder, I don't go in. If you have multiple of those, you could say subfolder and another, so it will not go into subfolder and it will not go into a folder called another. That's what you can see here. So it does not go inside. If you have here folder, then it will, yes, it go inside. Yes, it will process the files. Yes, unless there is a subfolder inside that folder called subfolder, that won't be processed, but all others are processed. You also have the ability to work with with a star in the name, which replaces any number of characters. So you can say, actually this means, this wildcard means starts with, if the folder filter starts with sub, so if the folder name starts with sub, then I don't want to process it. It's a filter, it filters out what you don't want. So in a folder called folder, it will process all files and it will process all subfolders if they are not, if their name does not start with sub. As soon as you encounter something that whose name starts with sub, it's not going in there. Subfolder, exactly the same. Here it will not do because it's called subfolder, so no. Here it's starts with, and so you also have the ability to say starts with sub. In this case, subfolder doesn't start with sub, so yes, it processes it. If you do starts with b folder, it will not process it. No. And starts with can also mean no characters in front of it, so it's also no. So if we quickly run a test, let me first do this test. So multiple folders are separated by a hash, and if I quickly go in here and I'm telling him, please do not catalog any folders with these names, or any files with that reside in a folder with this name, we just start the workflow, and if we have a look, it is processing this subfolder because it has a hash in the name. So it's not exactly subfolder, it has a hash, so it will process it. Same here, it goes into folder hash, subfolder hash, subfolder hash, all that is valid. But here you can see it didn't do this, it didn't do that, and it didn't do that one. Because they were all exactly called subfolder. Same here, it's not going in here because it was called subfolder. Let's delete record only. Let's go back to our Excel sheet. Same here, if I'm trying to do this one, for instance, anything that starts with sub I don't want to process. So let's go here inside and let's here, sorry, change it. Something like this does not exist, so you cannot, as soon as you use the wildcard, you cannot say this and, for instance, that does not exist. You cannot combine it with anything else. As soon as you use the wildcard, it's just one thing. So we already emptied our catalog, so let's start the workflow and let's see what it catalogs. What you see is that we were saying sub star, so anything that starts with sub we will avoid. So this, it cataloged the file in the root, it cataloged the file in that folder, but it didn't go in here. Anything below here is not processed. Same here, anything below this is not processed because it starts with sub. Same here, it did this one, but as soon as we came here, everything that started with sub is not processed. So that's why we only have 3 files processed at this point. Let's go back. Now, finally, for some time you were able to use the regular expression. There was, however, a logic or a problem with the logic, in that way that in the past what I'm about to explain had just the opposite functionality. So what you see here as being filtering out was in the past had this syntax, so you needed to prefix it with an exclamation mark. Because this was causing some confusion, I streamlined it in this particular version. So if your version is earlier than 9.2.40, then what I'm about to say has to be considered with an exclamation mark in front of it. So please remember that. What we are seeing here is I'm saying I don't want any folder that, for instance, starts with sub. And so this is not sub dot asterisk, and so it's not the word sub dot anything afterward. Dot asterisk means in regular expressions any character. So a dot stands for a character, and asterisk stands for any number of instances of that character. So I'm saying here actually the same thing as this. These two are equal. You can do much more with regular expressions. If you have no experience with it, I suggest you go, for instance, to this website, which is a very nice article and very clearly explains what you can do with it. You can go very far in what it does. So this way you exclude whatever is here. So if I do for instance here I exclude anything that starts with sub, like this, then I'm going to my catalog, and I have to empty my catalog still, I think. We'll see in a second. Anything that has that ends with sub, any folder that ends with sub will not be processed. It's already empty, so let's start. There we go. And actually, what is it cataloging? Everything, because none of the folder names end with sub. Now, if I'm emptying this and change it into the next thing, where is my, here it is, edit, and I change this into dot star any character b folder, and I check my catalog, it's empty, and I run it. I should catalog anything in that I should filter out anything that is in a folder that ends on B folder. So let's have a look, and what we're seeing is that here is a file that is not in a B folder. Here's a one that's not in a B folder, but here there is. Here there's not, it ends on B folder hash, so it's correct to catalog. Here it's B folder, but here is B folder hash, and so here it's fine, here it's not fine because it ends on B folder, and here it's the same, and here is the same. So that's why it catalogs what it catalogs. And so I can remove this, delete, record only, and that was the last example for the folder filter to exclude files, folders from processing. We can invert that functionality by prefixing it with an exclamation mark. Here again, you can surround your subfolders with hashes. It's no longer necessary. Only if you have multiple hashes, then multiple subfolders, then if you have another here, then you would if you have another folder like that, then you would use it to separate. You can filter out, and what happens now is that it says I want to process the files that only reside in a folder called subfolder, or another in this case. So if I'm in the root and I'm processing this, it will look inside this root folder, but it will not process any files because the files are not residing in a folder called subfolder, and it will look inside the subfolders of this folder, but it will only process the files inside those subfolders if the subfolder is called subfolder. Only files of the subfolder called subfolder are processed anywhere, and so it doesn't matter how deep it goes. So here it will look inside the folder, but it will not process the files, and it will look for subfolders. Same here. It looks inside the folder, but here it will catalog because the folder is called subfolder. Here, subfolder folder, it looks inside, but it doesn't process the files, and it goes look deeper to see if there's anything else with the same name. Here, subfolder, folder, subfolder, yes, it will catalog the files because the folder it resides in is subfolder. So it looks at the current subfolder. This functionality can be changed a little bit with 2 exclamation marks, where it looks inside the folder and processes the subfolder but doesn't catalog anything until it encounters a folder called subfolder here, and then it says, yes, I'm cataloging the files. But from that point on, any subfolder of that particular folder, it will also process the files, no matter how the file is actually the folder is actually called. So as soon as it has a root somewhere, it doesn't need to be the first subfolder. It could be folder subfolder slash folder subfolder. That one would be processed, and anything below. And that's the difference with this one here. As it goes also as deep as it can go, but it only catalogs what is inside the current folder called subfolder. While here, as soon as you are in a level, as soon as it has subfolder in the path, then it catalogs everything. Even if this current folder, which is a subfolder of that folder with the right name, it doesn't matter if that is a different name, it will catalog it. Then third option, which is new to this version, is that it says if you are in a subfolder, if you have a subfolder with the wrong name, it doesn't look inside. It doesn't go deeper. It first of all needs to comply with at any level with the filter before it goes in. So it doesn't go looking for the word subfolder lower. No. If if it encounters a folder that is invalid, it will not go inside. If it is valid, so also not the subfolder, is it if it is valid, it will go inside. If inside that one there's another folder, it will again not go inside that invalid folder. So that's a difference in behavior with the 2 above. It doesn't look any deeper as soon as it got a no valid folder. Same with the wildcard star, which has the same functionality and makes more sense than the exact filtering. Could be any folder that has final. I only want to catalog any folder that has final in the name or ends with _final. Then this one would have the same behavior as here. It would look for any subfolder, any level deep, and only catalogs those files that are really in the right folder. Same here, but as soon as you have a valid folder, anything below is cataloged. And here exactly the same as above. It will only catalog and go inside those folders that are valid. Same with starts with, so ends with, starts with is exactly the same functionality, nothing different there. And then we come back to the regular expressions, where the regular expressions again their functionality has been cleaned up and inverted. So the exclamation mark means include, and so everything here means include. If it has no exclamation mark, it means exclude in a filter. So here that's the same functionality. So let's take as an example, for instance, first this one. So if we look at this one and I say anything ending, any folder ending starting with sub, then first check, do I have records to delete? No. So here let's go inside, edit, parameters, regular expression, hop, and Go for it. Start. So we were saying actually anything that starts with sub is okay. So here, no, the root watch folder does not start with sub, so no, this folder does not start, but it goes look inside. It looks inside and finds this, so yes, 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 yes. Again here, no, it does not start with sub, so not here, but yes, 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 yes. Okay, so 3 times no and 14 times yes. If I make a little change now, and let's say I do delete record, and I'm saying ends with B folder, ends with B folder. I say any character any number of times, B folder. And if I run it, so it doesn't end here with a B folder. It doesn't end here with a B folder. It doesn't end here with a B folder. Not here, not here. Sorry, yes, here, yes, yes, yes. Not ends with a B folder. There's a hash. Not, but it goes inside. Yes, not, not, yes, yes, not, yes, not, yes, not. Okay, result 8. Now I'm going to make the change that I'm going to use 2 exclamation marks. 2 exclamation marks means that it will find a level that is okay and then catalog anything below, which means that we will see that as soon as it goes inside this one, it will also take this one, even though that exact folder does not comply, but the root folder, or at some level a folder, complied in the path, and then it's okay. So let's go here and let's say edit, and I'm prefixing it with an extra exclamation mark, and now, and I forgot to delete the record, so let's go and delete the record. Delete record, and then run the workflow. Start. So it will catalog a few extra files. Why do I keep going there? 2 extra files. You remember it wasn't doing this one, and now it did, because it's inside this, so yes, it can do it, although this is not complying. And here there's actually no record underneath, so logically there's also nothing to, but yes, 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 yes. And so you see no, because it starts with, oh sorry, no, it doesn't do here, and it doesn't do here because it doesn't comply here with this folder. And so there's a yes if as soon as it complies, but this one doesn't comply, so there's no root, there's no compliance here. There is a compliance here, so that's why it's doing this. Here's a compliance, so anything beneath. Here's no compliance, so yes, no. Okay, almost there. Last example. If I now change it into the 3rd exclamation mark in front of it, this means don't go inside if it doesn't comply. So this will actually result, I think, in 0 records, 0 records, because there is no root level that starts with B folder. So delete only, and let's run it. Start. Do I keep going back to my mail? I don't know. So no records complying because nothing, and the top levels which it checks is these 2, and it checks the files that are in the watch folder, and none of these start with B folder. If I make a minor change that I say it starts with folder instead of B folder, then it will catalog a few files. Now it catalogs this file, and this folder ends with folder, this folder ends with folder, this one ends with folder, this one ends with folder, and this one ends with folder. This one does not. It doesn't end with folder. It does not. And it does, but it doesn't go inside, because this doesn't comply, so it doesn't go inside. So this doesn't comply, so nothing underneath. So that's what that third exclamation mark means. It has to comply on every level to go deeper. As soon as it encounters a level that is not compliant, it doesn't go in. While the other ones always go and have a look, but maybe not. So that's a big difference. Okay, finally we come to the file filters. File filters are much easier. File filters have two possibilities. Either you specify the file extensions separated by colons. If you want to specify or point to files without a file extension, you specify two dots, which points to files without file extension. Again, it's a filter, so whatever you specify here will remove it. So in this case, I don't want files with .xmp, .xml, or .txt. So in this case, it's a TIFF, so it will catalog it. It's not case sensitive. That's why I, as an example, put an uppercase T here. So if I put here an uppercase T and here a lowercase TIFF, that doesn't matter. It will not catalog it. Again, filtering out, while the exclamation mark has the include functionality instead of the exclude functionality. So if you want to include your TIFF, then for instance you can say exclamation mark .tiff, .jpeg, and any other formats that you want to include. You cannot combine include and exclude. It's either completely including or completely excluding. These only work on the file extensions. With the regular expressions, you can take it to the next level. Regular expressions in the past were actually doing the inverted functionality. So in the past, up until this version, regex test.star would only accept files. Now it's excluding files. So to keep it consistent with here, while if you don't specify an exclamation mark, it excludes. With an exclamation mark, it includes. So that's super important to keep that in mind, that we made that difference for this particular example, for this particular version. So here, let's do a few examples. If I go to my website and I'm going to remove the folder filter. Folder and file filter can be combined, of course, but in this example, to make it a little bit easy to understand, I'm going to say, look, I don't want standard. You will have something like excluding all special kind of file types like .db, .txt, .xml are very often kind of files that you do not want to be processed. So in that case, you can specify, if I add this one, then it will also not process files without extension. So like this, and I say OK. And of course, you will understand that if I run this, it will catalog everything, because in my catalog, I have here only files that are ending with PNG or ending with TIFF. So it is cataloging all 17 files. Good. So let's delete, and let's say that I here, so I want only TIFF, then I can specify it like this. And as I said, I can have multiple, so it doesn't matter. I can say only TIFF and JPEG, for instance. And I can run the workflow, of course. Start, and let's have a look. and it's not cataloging the PNGs, it's only bringing in the TIFF files, cataloging only the TIFF ones. Now let's go for regular expressions. So if I'm saying that regex, and in this regular expression I'm saying I only want those files that end with, or that start with, sorry, that start with folder, then any character after that. Is it empty? No, it's not. So I'm excluding all file names that start with folder. Well, anything but this first file it has folder in the name, so everything else is excluded. If I invert this selection, if I invert this filter and I'm saying anything that starts with folder, and I can go here and I can say delete record. Let's go back here and I say start. And it has cataloged 16 files. Every file except the one that is here in the root of the watch folder, which is called file.tiff. Anything else starts with folder in the name, so is actually executed, cataloged. So this was a little training movie on how file and folder filters work, and the file filters also work exactly the same thing for hot folder workflow. Hot folder workflow does not have a folder filter, so it does not comply to these folder rules. As I said, I will post this in the Canto community, so you can always access it from there. Thank you for joining, and see you in another training movie.